So continuing on, I wanted to talk a little bit more about philosophy, especially branching away from Marianne Williamson saying that sickness is an illusion. Again, I'm going to keep harping on this. I'm going to keep saying that there is a necessity for suffering. But that doesn't mean we have to be miserable people. And it was last year, just almost exactly a year ago, I was in Bangkok, and I got my King James Bible. I found a King James Bible there, and I read it 3 times over this last year. 3 times cover to cover, you know. And it still wasn't, there was still something missing. There was still some problem I had, you know. And I was watching sermons online like Pastor Anderson, who came forward and just lashed out at gay people and really hateful, weird stuff like that. But then on the other side, I was exploring Christian Science, and I was in A Course in Miracles, and I started up again, and then I quit it, and I started up again and quit it. But I had been through it all the way through a year, and I was still really wrestling with some heartaches, some problems I was going through. And then, this summer, what's happened, it's sort of been like the summer of Tao. You've seen Chinese writing on my walls, maybe. And I discovered a Taoist temple here in Hanoi and went there and just spent a long time there and reread the Tao of Pooh, the Benjamin Hoff classic. I reread that and just thought, you know what? Maybe the answer is very simple. Maybe it's all just wei wu wei, doing, not doing. Maybe it is truly Hakuna Matata. Maybe it is one of those things where if I just let things go, I'll feel happier. And that's really been my progress. As I've let things go, I've felt a lot happier. Just dealing with, I don't know, it's not a stressful life out here. I've talked about it being easy street and all that, but there is a misery to everyone, and it is something that there is a real spiritual need, and I see it. I see it very much in our current times, and it's just taking different forms, and people are hurting themselves, and I'm hurting myself, and we don't realize that. We don't realize what it means to have karma burn away, to make the right decision, to suffer, and all of that. I don't know. Like, I've been doing Qigong practice, and I've just started doing that. Meeting outside, and one thing that I've learned in the group is that you're watching everyone, and everyone's peaceful, but you're holding your arms up, and you hold your arms up for a long time, and it doesn't feel bad for a few seconds, but then for a few minutes, 5 minutes or whatever, you start to feel just knots and stings of pain, but you look around and everyone's still very serene. But then there's that epiphany that I had, maybe my second or third experience, that others were feeling that same pain. And that's really the point of Qigong practice, is the idea that you burn off karma by doing these exercises. So yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, I'll never get over my obsession with religions in general, and I'm not through with Christianity either, but I'm just expanding my worldview, and I am just trying to get more of a sense of Tao. And, the Tao Te Ching, it says that the smallest message is best, right? You can read the entire book in an hour, but it's 5,000 words in Chinese. Like, well, why do you even need those 5,000 words? It almost reaches a point of hilarious contradiction. But that's what I'm all about. So I wanted to close this brief talk just by reading chapter 20 of the Tao Te Ching. And this is what I stumbled across a few weeks ago, and I've just had it rattling in my head, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I really think that this is a good way to go, so I'm going to read it. Abandon your acquired learning and do not regret the loss. There is very little difference between yes and no, but what a vast difference between a good man and a wicked man. There are some things, like suffering and death, which are universally feared and which it is natural to fear. But woe to those ignorant people who desire and grasp after amusements and defilements, the very things that cause suffering and death. People are busy with enjoyments as if they were celebrating a feast day or if they were flocking to the games. I alone am as fresh as the morning air, as pure as a babe in its mother's arms, as free as a homeless wanderer. Other people are admired and envied because of their cleverness. I alone am neglected. Am I, because of this, foolish at heart? No. Let them be as smart and aggressive as ever. I am content to remain retiring and obscure. Let them continue to be as sensible and prudent as ever. Let me remain as neglected as a deaf mute. Nevertheless, I am as pure as the water in the ocean and as free as the driftwood upon its bosom. Let others have their means for acquiring wealth. I am content to be counted foolish and inefficient. I seem to stand in contrast to common people, empty and foolish, for I am nursed by food from Mother Tao. Thanks for listening. If you're new here, please subscribe. Over and out.